So, we were discussing scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 emissions, and we mentioned that the scope 1 emissions are the emissions from the sources which the company owns. Whereas in the scope 2, we talk about the emissions from the purchased electricity, purchased steam, or purchased cooling, while the scope 3 emissions are the emissions arising from the entire value chain. How do you calculate those emissions? Is an example of diesel generator. A diesel generator in an industry would burn diesel for producing electricity, and this electricity produced has to account for the carbon. So let us say that we get some data from that company where the data could be a daily data or a monthly data about how much is the diesel which is being consumed by that diesel generator. So in this example, I have taken the diesel used is 100 liters per day. And then we talked about the emission factors. So the activity is diesel used 100 liters per day, and the emission factor is for diesel 2.68 kgs of carbon dioxide per liter. So in that case, what would be the scope 1 emission? The scope 1 emission would be 100 liters per day into 2.68 kgs, that is 268 kgs of CO2 per day. So this is how we calculate the scope 1 emission. If there are some other products like boiler, and the boiler is consuming some oil, then again we'll have to do some calculations wherein we need to have the data about the oil which is used by the boiler and the emission factor of the oil. And the same way we include that, and then the scope 1 emissions would be the addition of the two. Example of scope 2 wherein this industry, let us say, is using the purchased electricity from the grid. So we would have to look into the energy bill of that utility, the electricity consumed by this company, and let us say that that electricity consumed is about 500 units. 500 units means 500 kWh per day. So 500 kWh per day is the electricity consumed, and let us say that industry is in India. Then for India, we take the emission factor for grid electricity as 0.82 kgs of CO2. Then the activity is electricity consumption and the emission factor is 0.82. Multiply the two, we get the scope 2 emission because of the purchased electricity. So in this case, it comes out to be 410 kgs of CO2 per day. Obviously, if the building is located, the industry is located somewhere else in some other region, the emission factor would change. If the industry is having a different energy bill, consumption is different from 500 units, then again we'll have a different value of scope 2 emissions. Same thing about air conditioner. Air conditioner unit, if it is there in the facility, or let us say that we will consider this as scope 3. Now how it will be scope 3? Suppose you assume that there is some cooling which is being produced elsewhere, not in the industry, and that cooling is because of AC office which is located outside. In that case, we can calculate the emissions from the HVAC system which is outside the industry like this. So as a simple case, let us say that the office which is located outside that industry is having an AC of a capacity 1.5 TR. 1.5 TR is equal to 1.5 kilowatts. It means that if the AC is of a capacity 1.5 TR and assuming the coefficient of performance as 3.5, the power consumed by the compressor of the AC is 1.5 kilowatt. That is the meaning of this. So 1.5 TR is approximately 1.5 kilowatt of electricity. And And then if the AC is in operational for 8 hours, the multiply by 8, we get 12 units per day. And this 12 units per day, if you multiply by the grid emission factor, that gives us 9.84 kgs of CO2 per day. Now, why this is scope 3? Because we are assuming that this AC is outside the industry, right? If the AC was within the industry, then we had already accounted for this emission because the electricity consumed is taken care of. I hope this is clear to you.